Hi, it's Dawn Flood, or AKA Mrs. Flood, and I'm here with my friend Mindy Willis, AKA Mrs. Willis, and we're from Student Leadership Services, and we're here today, and we're doing this together. So this is kind of a new experience, and we're excited about it. We hope you like it. And today, our video workshop is going to be on communication. So how we communicate, what ways we communicate, the good, the bad, and the ugly of communication. And so what we're going to talk about today could include communication within your household, within your family, or your school. It could include communication on this lovely device that we're all connected to, technology, communication through technology. So we're going to talk about how do we communicate with each other through those things. And we're also going to talk about the monsters behind communication and the misunderstandings, because actually we're all communicators. We have all these tools and technology, but we're actually terrible at it. We're going to find out what's the monster hiding behind our miscommunication. So that's what we're going to do today. All right, Mindy, you ready to do this?
Yeah, I'm excited. It should be interesting to see how this plays out with the two of us using Zoom together and then putting that into a video format. So we're putting our own communication skills to work today. So we'll see how it goes.
Excellent.
So Dawn, we're obviously going to need maybe a few materials for this lesson. What do you think we should tell the kids?
Oh, yeah. So students, all you need is something to write with, and I don't care what you use, pen, pencil, marker, crayon, whatever you got. And then 2 pieces of paper. They can be small pieces of paper, little scrap pieces of paper, back of a newspaper, whatever you got. Just kind of look around the house, ask mom, dad, grandma, whoever's in your house, and just say, you just need 2 pieces of paper for this. So go ahead and grab that, and we'll get started. If I was in your classrooms, or if we were at an SLS training talking about communication, one of the activities that I always like to do with students is the telephone game. All right, so I know many of you have probably played this. It's kind of a popular game that we used to play when we were younger, but I like it because it's a really good example of communication and how communication breaks down. In case you haven't played telephone, this is kind of how it goes. You have this big long line, and you have everybody standing next to each other, which you can't do right now. And one person starts off at the end, and they whisper something, and the person's ear next to them, and then they whisper it, and it goes all the way down to the end of the line. And the goal is the last person that heard the message, the goal is that they heard the same message that the first person started. So the last person then says what they heard, and then the first person will say whether they're right or wrong. Now, when this happens, it's, really kind of funny because it never matches. There's only 2% of my classes in my SLS and STAN groups that get it right, 2%, okay? Because there's so many factors that happen during the telephone game. One, if somebody sneezes, if they giggle, if they wiggle, if they cough, if they're talking, if any of those things are happening, the person who's sending the message might send it wrong. The person who's trying to hear it might hear it wrong, so it gets all screwed up. And so that's one of the things we kind of talk about, all these different things and what happens. If the person mumbles, or if the person doesn't understand the words, or if they have a hard time pronouncing the words, people hear it wrong. And so the telephone game kind of gets all messed up. Mindy, have you ever played the telephone game?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. It reminds me, as I'm listening to you talk, it reminds me of gossip. I hear something from somebody who heard it from somebody who heard it from somebody else. And then, all of a sudden, if you go back to the source, you find that it's not even remotely true.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so gossip. So that kind of brings me to my story. I always kind of tell students when I do the telephone activity and we're talking about gossip, because there's a clear relationship. Because one of the things gossip happens, and the same thing happens as telephone, is people change the story, and they change the story to make it more interesting. So for example, if I were to tell Mindy and all of you that I'm going to have a cheeseburger for lunch today, by the time this video is viewed all across Michigan, people might be, texting and Snapchatting, hey, did you see Miss Flood's video? Did you know she peed her pants during it? I'm like, whoa, okay. So that's an example of gossip. Now, which is more interesting, that I'm gonna have a cheeseburger for lunch, which sounds really good because I'm hungry, Or that, you know, I wet my pants while I'm trying to do this video for all of you. Well, obviously the pants, who gives a hoot what I had for lunch, right?
Right.
So
right. Well,
again,
hey, maybe we'll get more likes and shares that way.
maybe, right? Okay, absolutely. So anyway, that's a good example of gossip. So when it comes to gossip too, I forgot to mention this after my cheeseburger scenario. One of my favorite quotes that has to do with gossip is gossip dies when it hits a wise person's ears. I love that quote because yeah, it's about, you know, you can be the wise person's ears. All right. So if you hear gossip, something comes to you, you have the answer. You can stop it by simply not passing it on. So gossip dies when it hits a wise person's ear. I want to share that with you. Isn't that a good quote,
really
Mindy?
like that.
What we're talking about?
Yeah, that's
excellent.
A good life lesson.
Absolutely. All right. So today's lesson about communication, right? So when it comes to communication, there's two types. All right. There's verbal communication, which we all are very good at verbal communication. Verbal communication is anything that involves words, whether that's talking, like we're doing right now, whether that's emailing, old-fashioned writing notes, okay, calling grandma, sign language, because sign language involves words, Morse code, okay, involves texting? Words. Texting, that's a good question. Yeah, texting, same with direct messaging or all that online tools that we use for communicating. That is verbal because it involves words, okay? And so, interesting enough, even though we use a lot of verbal, there's a lot of monsters in communication that has misunderstandings. Texting is one of them. And so a little further down, we're going to talk about what are some of the monsters that lead to you know, ineffective communication where misunderstandings happen. Right. So verbal is about anything that involves words. All right, so the second type of communication is nonverbal. Now, if verbal is anything that involves words, nonverbal is everything else, okay? So that is your facial expressions, your gestures, like a wave, your body language, how you're sitting, how you're standing, okay, and stuff like that. So a lot of times, okay, believe it or not, okay, we communicate more with nonverbal. 65 to 80% of our communication daily is nonverbal, which means we're communicating even though we're not using words. So I know some of you students have sat in their classroom and the teacher has said, hey, you know, Jim and John, pay attention, all right? So students always say, well, I wasn't talking, all right? Well, why do you think they're telling you that, all right? So I'm gonna use my friend Mindy here because-
Oh, me?
Yeah, so her nonverbal communication was huge, all right? I don't know if you were watching her and paying attention, but she wasn't looking my way, her head was turned and everything. So just by how she was sitting at her desk, she was supposed to be engaged with us, but by her head turned, playing with her hair, playing with her nails, I was telling us, you know, she was communicating, she wasn't really interested with what we were talking about. So our communication is huge, just like with your mom and dad, right? So Mindy, what are some of the things that, you know, your mom, that kids do that non-verbally communicate to you something?
Oh, number one, rolling eyes. My kids roll their eyes at me.
Roll their eyes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just like I'm sure, Mindy, as a mom, you non-verbally communicate to your children, okay, when you're in a bad mood without you even have to say anything. Do you know any things that you do?
Oh, yeah. Well, my kids have, they call it the look, you know.
The look.
It's the look. Either they can tell the look of mom's annoyed look, mom's mad look, you know, mom wanted me to do that 10 minutes ago look, you know, and really I can have one look and it encompasses like 10 things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Oh yeah, mom have that look. Okay. But many of you, if I were to ask you the question, and if you were here with me in this class, I would ask you, what are some ways that you know mom and dad are in a bad mood before they have to open their mouth? Well, I'm pretty sure some of you would tell me, well, the angry walk, okay, or the slamming things down, or the angry cook. All right, all of us have seen, you know, mom or dad or a guardian doing the angry cook, the stir of the pasta or the chopping of things, right? Okay, so our body language and our facial expressions is so strong that we're communicating all day long, even though we're not using words. Just like when you walk in through your classroom doors, okay? When you're in school, your teacher can tell by the way you walk in if you're in love, by the way you stroll in, okay? If you're sick, if you're happy, if you're sad, if you just flunked a test, just by the look on your face or the way you walk. That's how strong our nonverbal communication is. So 65 to 80%. Okay.
All right, so to demonstrate what Dawn was just talking about, we're going to play a game of nonverbal charades.
Cool.
So Dawn and I are going to model it first. And so I'm going to display an emotion using my nonverbal communication skills, Dawn, and I want you to try to guess what emotion I am trying to portray to you. Are you ready?
Got it. All right, here we go.
All right, here we go.
Let's see. Hair, doesn't like her hair. Biting on the nail. Oh, biting the nails. Okay, so nervous.
Yes.
Are you nervous?
Great job. I was. Yeah, you nailed it. Good job.
Right.
All right.
Okay. All right. So my turn. My turn.
Yep. It's your turn.
Okay.
All right. So I have to try to guess.
All right. So remember, okay,
right.
I only can use my facial expressions and my gestures. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Well, what first comes to my mind is you're exasperated. So if I'm thinking that you're bored.
Yeah,
there we go,
bored.
right there. That was it. The leaning in with the hand on the, definitely bored.
Yeah, bored. Yeah. Okay. All right. And I know your students probably would have guessed the bored right away. Okay. Because a lot of you're bored in school. So we've seen that, right? Yeah. Okay.
Right. All right. They're not going to be bored of us today.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. So students, Mindy, should we give them a try now?
I think so. So the next, we're going to pause the video and there'll be some slides up for you to guess. And I think we're going to do, what do we say, 4 of them?
4. So go ahead on that piece of paper that you have, or if you don't, you can just kind of remember, that's fine. We're going to have 4 pictures that are going to pop up and of us, okay? And demonstrating an emotion, but you only can try to guess it by looking at us, by the look on our face, how we're standing. And so see if you can get it right. There's going to be 4 of them. So we'll check in a minute to see if you got it right.
All right. Good luck.
All right, so now that you wrote down your 4 guesses, let's see if you got them right. Here's the answers.
I wonder how many people got right.
All right, so I hope you got them all right, okay? They're pretty easy. We weren't trying to make them hard on you, so I'm sure you got them. All right, so we just talked about verbal and nonverbal communication, and then you just did our nonverbal charade activity. So when it comes to communication, besides the 2 types that we've been talking about, when it comes to communication, there's 2 people involved. There can be more than 2, but there has to at least be 2 people, okay? So for example, Mindy, do you text?
Oh, all the time.
Right, okay, and I'm sure all of our students watching, they're the texters, right? Okay, so Mindy, after you type your text, what do?
Well, I send it.
You send it, right? Okay, so in communication, there's the sender. So when Mindy is typing a text, she's the sender. She's sending a message to someone else. Now, Mindy, what happens when you're reading the text from someone else? What do you think your role would be?
Well, I guess at that point I would be the receiver, right?
Exactly. So you have the sender and the receiver. Okay, excellent. All right. So Mindy, you watch TV too, right?
Oh, for sure. Probably too much these last few weeks.
Okay. So when you're home watching TV, is the TV the sender or the receiver?
The TV would be the sender, right?
Right. So the TV is sending you a message, you're receiving it. Okay.
Right.
So Mindy, what would happen if either the sender mixed up the message or the receiver interpreted the message wrong? What do you think would happen to the communication?
Well, a few things, right? So it can break down. I could misinterpret it. It could result, if it's between people, it could be a misunderstanding, maybe result in conflict. Yeah, quite a few things could happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So the communication would break down. There'd be a huge communication error. A big red X would pop up that says failure, failure. Okay. So, for example, okay. So listen to the scenario, and at the end, I'm going to ask you what was the problem. All
Okay.
right. So I'm standing in the kitchen next to the garbage can. All right. And my mom walks in and says, Dawn, take out the garbage. So I take out the garbage. Honestly, I took the garbage out. Okay. 10 minutes later, mom walks into another room of the house and then starts screaming and yelling at me and says, that's it. You're grounded. You never listen. You never do what I tell you.
Uh-huh.
So what happened? I actually took the garbage out, Mindy. Why am I getting yelled at?
Well, because you didn't take the garbage out, you only took out some of the garbage. This
Okay.
has happened in my house a few times.
All right. So who's at fault? Me or mom?
Well, you are, because you didn't take the garbage out.
Okay. So, but I did take the garbage out.
So you're saying it's your mom's fault?
Well, I don't know. Would it be mom's? What did mom not do in that scenario?
Well, mom, you should just know.
I should just know. Okay.
You should
All
just
right.
know that take the garbage out means you go through the whole house and you take out all the garbage, not just what's in front of you.
Gotcha. All right. So students, here's the problem. Okay. So both mom and I were at fault in that scenario. We'll start with mom. Okay. Because I know all of you, if I were to ask you that question and you were here with me, you would say, well, mom, for sure. Right.
Mom
So
can't
we'll
be
start with
wrong.
mom. Yeah. So what mom did not do was mom didn't give me all the information. She wasn't very specific or very detailed with her directions to me. Okay. So mom was missing that piece of take out all the garbage. I just assumed she was talking about the one I was standing next to. Now, I'm also at fault, so I'll be honest and take some blame. All right. So what I didn't do, okay, all right, was I didn't ask questions. I just assumed she meant what I was standing next to. So mom didn't give me all the information. I didn't ask questions. Therefore, we're both aggravated, upset.
Right.
Does that sound something that happens at your house, Mindy?
Oh yeah. Well, and I think you used a really important word there, and that's assume.
Okay.
And I think that happens, that leads to a lot of miscommunications and conflicts with people. You know, I made the assumption, you know, if your mom made the assumption that take out the trash, she's assuming you know that means all of the trash. And
Yep.
you're assuming, because you're standing next to trash, that that means that particular trash. So I think that us making assumptions is probably a really big source of miscommunication.
So, Mindy, is there any tips that you can, help me and the students when it comes to misunderstandings? What are
Well, I
some
think,
things we can do?
yeah, based on what you just kind of said as I was listening to you talking, I think the first one would be, you know, to make sure that you send the same messages, both with your verbal communication and your nonverbal. So
Okay.
perhaps when your mom said take out the trash, she could have made some sort of gesture that didn't only refer to the trash in front of you, both with her body language, and she could have said take out the trash in the whole house. So you know, sending the same message and that, you know, meaning the whole house, also being specific
Okay.
to make sure that you include those details. And then I think on your side, you mentioned it before, that you should be asking some questions for clarifications. Don't make assumptions, and make sure you ask questions so that you understand what the instruction or the intent of the communication was. And I think also that comes into like paraphrasing. So if mom says, take out the trash, then you say just the trash in the kitchen, or, you know, so you want me to take out the trash in the kitchen? And then mom would be able to say, no, I want you to take out the trash in the whole house. So by paraphrasing, you're clarifying your understanding, and therefore hopefully can, you know, reduce or eliminate miscommunications. So I think it would be those four things: sending the same message with your verbal and nonverbal communication. Number two, being specific. Number three, asking questions. And number four, paraphrasing to make sure you're showing your understanding. So I think those would be the top 4. What do you
Okay.
think?
Yeah, cool. That sounds great. Thanks, Mindy.
Yep. Okay, Dawn, so we're ready for our next activity. Are you ready?
Okay. Yep.
All right, so we're going to demonstrate, we're going to do a drawing activity, and the purpose will be to show an example of when we don't use those 4 strategies to avoid miscommunication. So I'm going to give you some directions to draw, and I am not going to be specific. I'm not going to ask questions. You can't ask questions, you can't paraphrase. So it's one-way communication. I'm going to talk, and you're going to do what I tell you.
Okay, so
All right.
Mindy, can the students join us with this too?
Yeah, we definitely want you guys to join, and so please grab one of your pieces of paper and a pencil. And in this activity, the size won't matter because I have no idea what size piece of paper any of you have. So the idea is we'll just see what happens and if our drawings look alike or don't look alike.
Okay.
All right, are you ready?
All right. Yeah, we got this, students. Come on,
You got
we can
it?
do this.
All
Yep.
right, good luck. Okay, draw a circle. And inside the circle, put another circle. And then a triangle. You all right so far?
Yep.
Okay, and now another circle. And the last thing I want you to put in your drawing is a rectangle.
Okay.
You got it all?
Yep.
All right, let me see what you got. Oh, geez. No.
I did what you said. You said circle, small circle, triangle, small circle, and then rectangle.
Oh, no, that's a disaster.
What do you got?
I'm not showing you yet because.
Ah.
All right,
All right,
we gotta try this again because that's.
All right. Well, students, if you followed me, this is wrong. So hopefully we can get it better. All right. Round 2.
Misunderstanding.
Okay.
Oh, geez. All right. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna try this again. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So this time we're going to use the 4 things. So we're going to make sure I'm sending the same message.
Okay.
Right? And I'm going to be specific. You can ask questions if you need to, and paraphrase to make sure you understand. All right. So let's see if that helps us communicate better so that we can make your drawing look like my drawing.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. I want you to draw a circle.
Okay. Circle, got it.
Okay, and then inside that drawing, I want you to put another circle.
So where in the circle should be the other circle?
Right, so well, you know, maybe you could just put 2 circles and then put them near the top.
Near the top, so 2 circles. So would these be like eyes?
Yeah.
For the face?
Yeah,
okay.
Make them be eyes, yep.
Okay, eyes, 2 circles, eyes. That look like a face, okay.
Yep, and then in between those circles, but a little bit below them, I want you to put a triangle.
A triangle. So if I were going to carve a pumpkin, would this triangle be under the eyes, like for a nose?
Exactly, yep.
Okay, got it.
Yep. And then underneath the triangle, I want you to put a long, narrow rectangle. But it can't go further to the sides than the eyes. So a long rectangle right below the triangle.
Inside the circle.
Inside the circle.
Okay, so kind of like a mouth.
Exactly like a mouth.
Okay. But not wider than the eyes.
Not wider than the eyes.
Okay.
Maybe about the same, how about the same width as the eyes?
The same width. Okay. All right, I think I got it now.
All right, let's see. All right, there's yours. Ready? Here's mine. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Well,
it matches.
They look pretty good.
All right.
Do you think the students look that good?
I think so.
I hope so.
Yeah. So you sent the same message to us.
Yeah.
You were specific with what you wanted us to draw. We were able to ask you questions, and we were able to paraphrase to make sure we were putting in the spot you told us.
Right. So I definitely think we had more successful communication the second time. Would you agree?
Excellent. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. So students, this would be a great activity that you can do at home with your parents, your guardian, whoever's in your house, siblings. Another fun way to kind of practice our communication skills, if you have any Legos or Lincoln Logs or any type of building blocks around the house, this could be a fun activity. You could sit back to back with someone and make sure you have the same parts, same colors and everything, and have one person start off giving directions like we just demonstrated, giving directions to build something, and then have the other person listen, follow your directions. You can do that round one, and then the second round you can do the same type thing. Then they are able to ask you questions and paraphrase.
Right.
And then when you turn around at the end, it should match, just like we did with drawing.
That
So
would be
you can
fun.
do that with Play-Doh too, okay? If you have any Play-Doh. So really anything where you can make something,
Right.
that would be good. Okay.
That would be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So excellent. So thanks so much for participating in our communication workshop today. I had a lot of fun. I'm glad Mindy and I were able to do this together and hang out with you. And so we look forward to seeing you again and talking to you next time. See you later.
Great. Fun to practice our communication skills using technology. All right. Talk to you later. Till our next video. Stay tuned.
Till our next video.